Hi, good evening. So today I'm going to share my analysis on the stock Motherson Sumi. This is by virtue of a request from a friend who wanted to know how to sort of initiate trades in lower time frames in terms of confirmation. So I'm going to share one form of confirmation today. There are, of course, advanced ways to seek confirmation from lower time frames. But one method I'm going to teach today, which was very much applicable for this stock that was going on in the past 1 week and this present week. So let's start with the top-down analysis. Let me begin with the monthly chart analysis. But before I do that, I just want to let you know that in a day or two, might be today or tomorrow, I am going to come up with a very interesting video on how to gauge the trend of a particular stock so that you can get a bias of the stock, whether it's to be traded on the upside or on the downside. And that method of gauging a stock's trend or a stock's bias is completely using this type of demand supply price action. So hopefully you will enjoy that. Ideally, I should have first created that video and then created this particular video on the Sumi. But nonetheless, I'm going to come up with those concepts as well over here in brief. But do check out that video first. So if you are watching later and you are actually watching this while the video on trend analysis is also being completed, so I would suggest you go back to that first, watch that, and then come back to this particular video. But I'm making this first because I had committed to a friend who had asked this question. So it's only fair on my part to first give him my perspective on his question regarding the Motherson Sumi, and then come up with some other new videos. Right. So coming back to Motherson Sumi, you can see that this stock is particularly, and from a monthly perspective, is in a solid downtrend. Right. Uh, so just to give you a brief on how do we define bias on the upside or downside, or how do we define trends, particularly on from the higher time frame perspective. So when a stock is consistently moving up, it is creating demand zones, either rally-based rally or drop-based rallies, and on its way up, it is sort of destroying or eliminating supply zone on its path like this. It destroyed the supply zone and created demand zones on its way up in this particular phase. Right? So it is supposed to be in a good uptrend. And similarly, when price started turning from here, you can see that how nicely price started eliminating demand zones on its way down and created fresh supply zones. Not only will it create fresh supply zones, it will also respect those supply zones and move down on its way. Okay, so here you can see that by virtue of that brief knowledge, you can see that Motherson Sumi is right now in a solid downtrend. It's right now creating supply zones. The last supply zone created was here, right? And price went up and it dropped from there, right? So it is respecting supply zones as it's moving down and creating those. So in this entire part, you won't see any supply zones getting eliminated. Formed, respected. Formed, still fresh, not yet tested. Went down. It's on this dirty drop, base drop, drop, base drop. Again, prices went up over here in this candle. Again, respected the supply. Again, went down, creating this rally, base drop. This is also fresh again. Again, went down and created this drop, base drop. Again, price went up there and it's respecting it right now. So price is respecting the supplies, creating supplies on its way down and eliminating all demands on its way up. And so if you see that at the moment, it is respecting all supplies, right? So this is the monthly picture. The overall big bias should be on the downside. But does that mean that we can only take shorts and not longs? No. We of course can take longs in lower time frames, but only in confirmation at HTF demand zones. So here you can see that so price went down, it was moving up from here. Why was it moving up? We have to look left. Let's see if we can find something. Yes. So price was basically so if we combine these two and take this as a zone as a whole, then this already been tested. Price went up, went down, and again went up. And this was the entire compression area, right? This is all compressed price action. And here was the liquidity spike, which I'll also cover. Price just came back to this liquidity spike and then went up. Again compressed up. So anyway, that's for another topic. So this was where the origin of this entire rally was, right? This is where it all started. And it started from this demand zone. This rally-based rally. If you see that the first touch itself gave a good reaction, prices came down. Oops, sorry. And again from here, the buy orders were unleashed by institutions, and they started buying the stock. This was back in 2016. So this demand zone, which was still there, this always had a chance of having more buy order flows coming at deep from deep inside the zone, which was a first touch, second deep, but not eliminated yet. So there was a chance of more buy orders sitting here, a buy order flow coming from here, and so if I delete this one and just keep this one, you can see that yeah, price actually bouncing up from those order flows. Anyway, so price was going up. It was pushed up towards this particular supply zone. On its way up, this demand zone was also created, right? I would not have traded this one because, of course, this was already used buy demand zone on the left, towards the left. We saw earlier, and it was a zone that was created within a previous zone. So these are low potency zones. So do not touch trade these, but you can always watch. You can take longs in lower time frame, like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or an hour time frame. So best is to watch for price action developing in lower time frames, right? So that's what we should have done here. So price went up, and again, see, it was respecting this weekly supply. Prices went down, came back to this demand zone, and again, price went up. So something is happening over here where this particular demand zone on the left is creating fresh demand zone and is getting respected again. So institutions seem to be willing to buy at this price range. Might be that the valuation at this price range is attractive for certain institutions, so because of which they are of the view of buying this particular stock. I'm just guessing this, it may not be true, right? Just a wild guess for this repeated buying happening at this particular price range. And we do not even think about all these things when we read price in terms of this kind of price action. We just read price from the chart perspective. Anyway, so now let's move on to the daily. So if I just remove the drawings from the higher time frames, so you can see that, yeah, so when price entered this daily weekly demand zone, prices started moving a bit sideways and moving up, right? Now what is happening here, friends? So you can see that the price action dynamics are changing. So till then, all supplies, if you can see, were formed, went up, respected, again supply created, price went up, again dropped from the supplies, it was being respected. And there could have been a supply at the lower time frame here, price went back again up there, and again dropped from there, right? The supplies are getting reacted. It is here when this particular zone was taken out, price went back, dropped till this demand zone, right? Touch this and shot up again. So it is here when you should become alert of the changing dynamics in the lower time frames of this Motherson Sumi stock. So it went down here, eliminated this short-term supply here, and then went up. Created one more demand zone here. The good move up. I mean, the exit from that. So since this was tested, done, so I'm removing this one. But the one below is still fresh, right? This one. This particular demand zone is still fresh. Not a good one, but still a demand zone. One that is fresh. So when price moves up, eliminating all these supplies and creating these two demand zones, can I look for going long over here? Of course, yes, but with confirmation, because the higher time frames, the monthly, weekly are still respecting the supplies and sell orders are still being unleashed from there. So for that, let me go to the 15-minute time frame and come back, to when price was actually entering the upper demand zone. So I marked two demand zones, right? This is the upper one. So what do you observe here? Could you have initiated a buy setup over here or a buy? You could not have, because if you watch price coming down, while it touched over here, it created this dirty drop-based drop, supply zone. What was price doing in this supply zone? Price was going up there and sell orders were being unleashed. Again, it went up there, again unleashed. Again, went up there, again unleashed. So this supply zone was where the institutions were unleashing their sell orders in this lower time frame. So this is being still respected. It's not being eliminated. So there is no dynamic change of dynamics over here. So until here, we could not have been sure. See here, a dirty demand zone was formed. It respected, but did it respect this? Did it break the supply? No, it did not. So this is one way of confirmation that price dynamics has not changed, because supplies are still being respected and demands again got eliminated. See, and price now went almost towards the other end of this demand zones, almost about to break it. Again went up, right? Still not able to break this supply zone, and again dropped and took out this demand zone that was formed with a little bit of reaction from there. The supply again held it down, right? So, and ultimately this entire zone, daily demand zone, got destroyed or eliminated without any confirmation in this 15-minute time frame. So there was no confirmation over here to initiate long orders. That gave you a hint that institution buyers were willing to unleash their buy order flow. So let me delete this one, right? This one as well. So now let's come to the lower demand zone from the daily chart, right? This is the lower one, and so price entered here, showed some kind of an up move, but did it eliminate the supply here? The last somewhat okay, good looking supply, right? It did not, right? It went up till here and then dropped. So again, supply is getting respected, and demand is getting respected little bit here. Went at this supply, again respected this, again dropped from there, again treated this supply, price went back in, so price went down, eliminated the demand. See, again the demand order flow is not that strong. It went up, respected the supply, again dropped, again created a new supply. Prices again went up from these demands, right? Again it failed to eliminate this supply. So supply order flow is, sell order flow is still holding. So selling institutions are still stronger in power. Again it went down. Now this time this was respected again, this demand zone. right? Touched there, again went up. So it is here where the dynamics seems to have changed, at least in this time frame, where you could have possibly looked to initiate long buy orders in a lower time frame for a scalping mode, right? Because higher time frame is still in downtrend, so do not go for high RR trades. You can start looking for 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1 RR trades, not the 10 to 20, 10 to 1, 20 to 1 trades, right? So it was here when the first supply got eliminated. It's a bit confusing to look at, but see, this was the first supply getting eliminated. This one, sorry, it's got eliminated here. Price came back in, went back up, destroying the next supply as well. See, two supply zones getting eliminated, this one and this one. I just deleted. And demand zones now getting formed and respected. The price comes back in, respects this, went up, eliminates the next one. See, so now how the dynamics is changing. So it was around here when supplies are getting eliminated and demand getting respected. So confirmation was here, but the start origin was here. So from here it was the buy order flows were getting unleashed, but we could not have taken long orders aggressively over here, right? Because we don't know if price would respect the supply or again go down like what happened in the previous daily demand zone. So it was only here that we could have a strong inkling that now the demand dynamics is changing. Demand supply dynamics is changing and the buying institution and the order flow are coming forward. Right? See how it's being respected. So demands are getting respected. So it is here you could have looked for initiating buy orders, right? Over here. Possibly over here. One long over here. And this was a level on top of level. So buy here and stop loss here. And look for a 2 to 1, 3 to 1 targets, right? And see how beautifully demand zones getting created and getting respected. Again move up here, again another demand zone formed here, right? Price comes down here. See how the dynamics changed here. So now supplies are getting eliminated and demands are getting created and respected. So right now price is here, another demand over here. I'll take this entire one here, right? So this is how you would look for confirmation on LTFs to initiate trades. And but keep in mind, my friend, that the monthly and weekly picture is still having a downward bias. So even after creating so many demand zones on the 15-minute time frame, where you could have initiated longs over here, over here, over here, right, as per your trade plan, on the monthly, it's still respecting the supply, right? The supply is still being held. So I could not say that Motherson Sumi is now turning on the upside. So only I will go for investment longs. This is not an investment advice, but if I were an investor on a personal note, I would first look for elimination of this monthly supply, right? And then wait for price action to retrace and create a suitable, a good price action for longs, right? So this is it. So I hope, my friend, you have learned something. So I must say this is one form of confirmation. There are other advanced form of confirmation as well. So this is one form that I learned personally sitting with charts for a lot of time. And I really would suggest all the viewers who are learning this form of price action to sit in front of charts whenever you have free time and watch price action across time frames. And you yourself will be able to come up with your own rules of how confirmation comes and where to initiate longs, where to initiate shorts. And on the way, I'm going to teach you my methods as well, but that's not the only method. So different price action traders have their own methods of initiating trades or getting confirmation from price action. So it's all there. It's beautiful, and keep learning. And if you like this video or if you like other videos, then please share with your friends and your family on your social media accounts. If you can post some of my videos that you like, it would really encourage me. If there are more viewers and if there are more people who are learning, it's a real morale booster for me, and it shows that I'm doing something that is worthwhile, or it is useful for people, for traders out there who like myself. I have also struggled a lot of time before finally I learned this form of price action, and so everyone has to go through their own journey. I agree with that, but if someone comes to know about this form of price action, it is my personal belief, you may disagree with it, the learning curve would be shortened quite a bit. There would